So today we're going to speaking about how to quit with confidence, but in the context of the job. So I'll introduce myself again. So my name is Amber Shand. I'm an award-winning software engineer, co-host of Glowing in Tech podcast, and I've changed the name of the newsletter. It's now called Own Your Wins, and you can check out my website, ambershand.co.uk. So let's briefly talk about my quitting journey. So over the course of my working history, I've had 9 jobs, 5 being professional, 4 were in retail, and I've quit 7 of them, with 2 of them being internships. So they naturally came to an end, which I was very relieved about because I was quite nervous quitting as an intern in a professional kind of setting. And I've had 8 written notices. So we're talking about confidence. So let's define what that is. And in this context, we're talking about self-confidence. And according to Psychology Dictionary Online, it's an individual's trust in their own abilities, capacities, and judgments, or the belief that they can successfully face day-to-day challenges and demands. So in the context of quitting, it may feel daunting to actually quit with confidence. And that's when I encourage that if you don't have confidence, to lean into courage. One of my favorite phrases to use is to feel the fear and doing it anyway. I do this all the time because my confidence can be a bit fleeting sometimes. I have my off days. So courage is the ability to do something, even if it may feel difficult and when there's risk. So when you're deciding to quit, you may experience a range of emotions such as anxiety, guilt, relief, uncertainty, excitement, fear, nervousness, even frustrated. I've definitely experienced an array of all these emotions depending on what kind of job I've had to quit. I think the most fear-inducing time I've had to quit was when I actually really enjoyed my work. I loved my team, and I was quite scared because I felt like maybe they thought I was lying to them, that I didn't actually enjoy it when I really did. And that was definitely quite nerve-wracking. But then there's also been times where I've just been like, whew, she's gone, people. She's out of here. It was definitely some relief, especially when I was working in retail. Yeah, those wouldn't go back to those days. So today we'll be talking about the 5-step plan on how we can quit with confidence. So the first step is to remember your why. And so you have to ask yourself, why are you quitting? So there can be a range of different reasons, such as you may be pursuing a better opportunity that's more aligned with your values, or like something that you see yourself that you want to progress in and want to work as. You may be frustrated with the lack of progression that you're currently experiencing within your company. You can be unsatisfied with your current compensation package. You may be having a manager who isn't that supportive and maybe even toxic in some cases. But I want you to know that your reason is absolutely important to you. And some good questions that you can ask yourself when discovering why you want to leave, or even if you want to leave. So those kind of questions include, will your skills be best suited at a different company or career? I definitely had to ask myself this. So I should have explained this earlier, but I originally have a degree in economics and accounting. And I figured that my skills weren't necessarily aligned for the finance world. And I ended up teaching myself how to code over the pandemic. And asking these kind of questions helped me be like, okay, I don't want to pursue finance, but I definitely want to pursue being a software engineer and coding, because that's where my skills, such as problem solving, definitely lie. Another question to ask, are you working in a toxic environment? Some environments that we work in don't necessarily serve us to essentially reach our full potential and have the motivation levels for us to actually stick it out when challenges come, and to work on projects. Another is, do you have opportunities for the right support to grow in your career? So if one of your priorities is career progression, that you see yourself developing within that, it's an important question to ask, because if the current company that you're at isn't serving that, it may be best to find someone else that will. And are you satisfied with your compensation package? We saw the Great Resignation happen in 2020, where people were demanding more and getting more. So it's definitely a great question to ask, especially depending on what kind of lifestyle that you want to live, and if your company is paying you a competitive rate. Do you have good work-life balance? Again, this depends on where you are in your situation. what your priorities are. But it's not everyone wants to work in a fast-paced environment that involves long hours. Sometimes you want to move to a different company that may be a bit slow-paced, that gives you more time to essentially have more balance. And does the job offer enough flexibility? One reason that I left my previous role was because the current role that I'm in is fully remote and I can literally work from anywhere. And that was a big benefit for me. But with that being said, it doesn't mean that leaving is easy. When you're working at a company for some time, you get comfortable and you're familiar with the people, the work, the processes. And even though it may be in your interest to leave, it doesn't mean that it's an easy process to go through. So some questions that you may like, some worries that you may have, or some that I definitely have had, and with people that speak to me about it have had, questions like, what if I disappoint my colleagues by leaving? What if I leave and have a bad time at the job I'll be pursuing? Am I even ready to leave yet? Maybe I should stick it out for a bit longer. What do I even say to our manager when I leave? And this comes from self-doubt. So self-doubt can creep in when we fear the unknown, especially in cases where I'm leaving to pursue another job. So say if I have an environment that isn't serving me, I've got a manager that isn't supporting me. Sometimes the fear is, oh, like, what if I leave to go to a different job and it's worse? What if the manager's actually mean to me now? Or what if they promise this great deal and they can't actually back that up with actually implementing that? But I'm here to tell you that it's all good. We're going to follow the plan and we'll get back to that point later on. So I'm very a big advocate of self-validating your feelings. So I feel like sometimes it can be helpful to recognize how you feel and then remembering your why in that process. So for example, I'm feeling anxious about quitting, and the importance of using and is because sometimes when you use but, you're kind of dismissive of how you really feel, but you can feel both. So I'm feeling anxious about quitting and I'm leaving to work at a company with higher compensation and who is more aligned to my values. I'm feeling relieved about quitting and I'm leaving because I'm ready for a change. I'm feeling nervous about quitting and I'm leaving to change my career. And then step 2 is to create a safety blanket or a safety net. So a safety net can look like a few things. It can be having a job lined up with the contract signed. So I remember when I was looking to quit one of my roles, I'd just been offered another role and I was like, okay, cool, I'm ready to quit. Because I've just got the offer letter. But I was strongly advised to only quit when you have the contract signed because at least it's guaranteed. And also a safety net can even look like plans to take a break and upskill. So I see a lot of people quitting their jobs to maybe do a coding boot camp, taking time to travel, to unwind, and then going back to either a job that's already lined up or traveling or upskilling and then taking time to apply for jobs later. And with that, I would highly recommend for you to have enough savings to make it last. So maybe around for 6 months or more to foster that kind of safety net for yourself. And step 3 is definitely to reach out to your manager first. One of the worst things that we can do is for our manager to find out from someone else that we've planned to leave. And this links later on into leaving on good terms. But this is one of the first things that you can do to leave on good terms. So it all starts with, so now you're saying, okay, I'm ready to quit. I've got my notice periods in mind. Today is the day. And this is the day I'm going to be telling my manager. And so with that in mind, you can message your manager something along the lines of, are you free for a quick chat? And hopefully your manager's around, either hopefully soon, or you can arrange a chat for later on that day. And sometimes they may not have the time to have a quick chat, so it might even be the next day. But at least you've arranged the chat. And one thing that I was really nervous about is, okay, so once I'm in there, what do I even say? So it's a conversation. So you just say, hi, the normal formalities, and you can say something like, I just wanted to tell you first, because I think it's the right thing to do. I'm resigning effective from today as I'm pursuing another opportunity. And I wanted to thank you for, for the opportunities they aligned you with, support, guidance, development, and mentorship. And hopefully they respond well. In my experiences, they always have. but I have had some people that haven't had a great experience, but we'll get onto that later as well. And then you also may need to prepare for a counter offer. So the role I had before, when I said that I will be resigning for another opportunity, they said to me, is there any way that we can keep you? At the time, the answer was no, because I'd already made the decision. And this is why it's so important for you to go in with knowing your intentions. If your plan is to quit, to quit the role, then I advise you to stay strong in that decision. However, if they may offer you something that makes you say, oh, okay, like you offering me a higher salary or move me to a different team, they may reconsider your options and you may decide to stay. But if you're planning to quit with confidence, I would say I would lean on actually not necessarily accepting that counter offer, but it's completely up to you and what your priorities are. And then step 4. So last time when I had the conversation with my manager, I said, okay, like I'm leaving, there's nothing you can do to make me stay. And after our talk, I'll send you my formal resignation email or letter. And of course, I had to ask Chat GPT what they would say. And I feel like they came up with a really solid answer. So I'll read it out. So it says, Dear manager's name, I'm writing to inform you that I have decided to resign from my position as X at the company, and my last day of work will be at this date. I've truly appreciated the opportunity to work with such a dedicated and talented team. The experiences and skills I've gained through my time at the company will be invaluable as I move on to new opportunities. I want to express my gratitude to you and the entire management team for the support and guidance provided to me during my tenure. I want to assure you that I will do everything in my power to ensure a smooth transition for my role, and I'm willing to assist in finding and training a suitable replacement. I wish the company and my colleagues all the best for the future. Thank you for your time and opportunities provided to me. Sincerely, your name. I couldn't have written it better myself. ChatGPT is here to stay. No matter what people think about it, I felt like this was a very good one. And then step 5 is definitely leaving on good terms. So what does that mean? So that could be something like not bad mouthing the company or the people who work there during your notice period. Instead, speaking diplomatically about it. Depending on the need, you may need to produce a handover. And with that, I would highly recommend you speaking to your manager about this. So organizing how do you balance your time in terms of delivering projects and making time to create a handover if that's part of the requirements. And also keeping the momentum up during the notice period. Sometimes it can affect your personal brand if you just lose all momentum and just will to work during your notice period. And also giving constructive feedback on your experience. So I was lucky enough at my previous place to have an exit interview, and that was a great place for me to actually explain certain things that weren't working that well for me, and to have that conversation surrounding that, and also hearing from the manager conducting it changes that they were going to make in terms of hearing that feedback as well from other people as well. So that's a great thing for employers and also for the employees that have stayed to make their lives a bit easier when you leave as well. And there's several reasons why it's beneficial to leave on good terms. So especially when you're working in a small industry, it can be hugely beneficial for your personal brand, for you to be known as someone who, that delivers, someone that is just known for like producing good work, also getting good reference. So normally when you apply for a new job, they ask for 2 references and both from your previous employers. And especially in the case if you wanted to eventually go back to the same team and company. So do you remember before how we spoke about the self-doubt from the fear of unknown? If you actually are leaving a job that indicate in a similar case to me that you actually do like and you actually do like your team, it's a great thing to leave on good terms so you can go back in case your new opportunity isn't what you thought it would be, and also to get future recommendations from colleagues as well. But your employer may not leave you on good terms. And unfortunately, this has also happened to me when I was working in retail. I remember I left my job to go to another retail job. And I remember my manager just put me in the stock room for like the last 2 weeks, and all I was doing, I wasn't talking to anyone. I was just in the stockroom, just like doing whatever with all these clothes. And I just felt like, okay, I know that my notice period is just for 1 month, and I can stick this out for like 2 weeks, 1 month, and whatnot. But also, another alternative when it's in more a professional setting is to have a conversation with them about it. And just have a conversation with them about it, saying, hey, like, I've noticed that our relationship has like shifted since I said I'm leaving. I'm really looking to ride this out with you, and like to really work with you for the next how much time you have. But if it's really bad and if you can afford it, you can have a conversation about shortening your notice period. So that's absolutely negotiable as long as both parties agree to it as well. And yeah, and that is all. The recap, the 5-step plan. First of all is remembering your why. 2 is creating a safety net. 3 is reaching out to your manager first, then sending your resignation email, and that's including to your teams as well. So it's more like you can send it to your manager, but then maybe a few weeks later you say a warning to your team, hey, by the way, I'm resigning, I'm leaving on this date, just so that they can prepare as well. And 5, to leave on good terms.